morning, everyone. My name is Evan Stevens.
And I'm Tommy Bobbitt.
Back again with some more Rowdy Royals. This week we'll be talking about the great and long art of pregaming.
Should be Queen's new varsity sport.
Hell yeah. I'd go see that sport. Or in Tommy's case, because he didn't really go out. That's just his gaming. That's his normal gaming.
Yes, sir.
I guess when it comes to pregaming, it always kind of boils down to one thing, and it is beer before liquor. Never been more sicker. And liquor before beer. You're in the clear.
To fear. Or you're in the clear.
You're in the
I've
clear.
heard it both ways.
Heard it both ways. So that's rule one. And I guess rule two, my rule two is I like to just get to the point to where I can barely make it out the door. So then when I go to the bar, I don't have to worry about buying any drinks, and I save so much more money because I can buy a 20 bottle of like Jameson or Jack Daniels, mix it, get pretty loosey-goosey and feeling pretty good. And then when I go out to the club, I can save, I don't know, $90 for that night.
See, now that's kind of interesting because I've never heard a 21-year-old, have that strategy. Like, they've always been the ones that, the pregame is actually a pregame to them. Like, the 21-year-olds that when they go out and they can actually buy drinks, they usually go pretty steady. It's usually from, who I've talked to and who I've pre-gamed or gamed in my case with, the ones that can't go out and buy drinks. And this is where it gets this is where it gets really dangerous, and people could get alcohol poisoning or anything. They try to get as drunk as they possibly can while they're at that house because they know they will not be able to get alcohol when they eventually go out. So it's in that span of 30 minutes, I've seen some, or an hour, that's usually more accurate, but I've seen some pretty crazy things.
Yeah, I think that mainly comes from me because I'm from a small town in Northwest Ohio. So, if I want to, not really pregame or, take it slow and I want to go out to the bar, then it's it's only, $2 for a beer. Or, if I want to get a Jameson and Sprite, it's only, $3.75.
Right.
And then especially on, Tuesday, we have this thing called $2 Tuesday where any beer is $2. Any and all beer is $2, and any mixer liquor drink is $3. So right. Here it's do I want to get a beer? Yeah, that'll be $6.25, and it's oh cool, it looks like I'm paying here the price of one, where there it was the price of 3 or to 4, and it's very unfortunate. I remember I went to Chicago last Christmas break, and we went to this bar called El Jefe. I highly recommend it. We rented a booth out for $200, and there was a couple of us, so we only had to pay $50 each, and you got 2 complimentary bottles. So that was pretty amazing. But I just remember going up to the bar, and I was like, "Hey, can I get a Jameson and Sprite, please?" And she's like, "Sure thing, honey." She comes back with it after a few minutes. She's like, "Yeah, that'll be $11." And I'm like, in real money? In real money, $11? I was like, "Are you kidding me? I could have had 3 of these back where I'm from. This is horse shit."
Yeah.
But
I've never heard of anything. No.
But I think one of my favorite stories, or actually I guess a game plan, which is I guess a story, is when it comes to pre-gaming is you got to play freaking either the beer fest games, or you got to play or just have some simple games going like Pong or maybe Chandelier, unless you have freaking MD next to you and fucks you over and end up having to, drink 7 to 11 cups in a span of 30 seconds because MD was a piece of shit and didn't know how to pass the ball. And then you go on to obviously taking shot. I always have this one friend. Her name's Kyla. Love her to death. But when she comes around, she always wants to do tequila. And I'm like, listen, if we're doing tequila, we're going to do it right now, because I'm not going to get out to the bar or out to wherever we're going and then be all liquored up and then take a thing of tequila and then have to gag like I'm getting ready to just projectile vomit, like the scene from freaking Scary Movie 2 in Hell House, just projectile vomit all over everybody. That'd be super embarrassing. I would never show my face again. But she always comes along, so we gotta always do tequila. But then you always got to have some great music. You have to have a good DJ. You can't have someone who's just like, oh, yeah, like all the pretty girls, I'll take whatever request you want, and everybody else can fuck off. No, you got to have a good, solid DJ. And then I don't know who started it, but once that one person starts talking shit, then everybody gets rowdy. and it just turned into the goddamn X Games in that house.
Especially when we got some Rowdy Royals.
No pun intended. But it just turned into the goddamn X Games. And then we went out, and then I honestly, that's where the story ends, only because that's how much I remember of that night.
You were mentioning like the games that are played at a pregame, and we've also already established that is my actual game.
Yeah.
Because I don't really.
So time is going hard at that point. He's not just like taking it easy, like, oh, I'll have a few when we go out. No, he's going hard right then and there.
Right, and that's what I was about to mention. Is this is where people hate me and then love me at a pregame, because I always want to play. There's at least 2 very outlandish games that I like to play at a pregame, and I will ask to play them, and people will hate me because they'll have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. And then once they start playing it, they'll love me because, I mean, they're too drunk not to like me.
What are the 3 games?
So the first one is called Beer Die. I mean, that one's not as outlandish. Probably 85% of the time, no one's ever heard of it. And it's kind of like beer pong, but it's 2-on-2, just like beer pong. 2 cups set at the edges of a 4-corner table. You have to, in a short summary, you have to throw the die, like a dice from the game Monopoly or something like that, above your eye, like above eye level, and underhanded. And basically you're trying to land it in that cup. And the cup's supposed to be filled with a full beer. So it's not like with water, like you don't fill the cups with water or anything like it's supposed to be with a full beer. Basically, if you sink that die into that cup, you get points for it, but also both of the people you're playing have to finish whatever is in that cup. So that's where people get like really messed up. And every time someone scores a point, like you score points if the die like bounces off the table, they don't catch it. You have to try to catch it one-handed. They don't catch it. And every time like someone scores a point, you have to drink for it. And the game's played by like 1s and 2s. So if you play to like 11, like you might have to chug a beer 3 times. And then the other one is called Beerio Kart, and that one's probably my favorite.
That's pretty self-explanatory. You just kind of play Mario Kart and get...
It is kind of self-explanatory, but there's some very important things that people forget before they dive in, or they don't know about before they dive in and then instantly regret it. It's played in one race. You have 1 beer at the beginning of the race. As soon as it starts, you have that entire race to finish your beer. You can chug it all at the beginning, which is usually what I do. I've learned that that's the best strategy, but if you can't do that, you can finish it between the 3 laps that you're racing. But the catch is you cannot drink and drive. So you have to set your controller down whenever you're going to drink. And this is where this is why drinking, like pretty much chugging your beer at the beginning is the best strategy, because someone will not be concentrated on drinking at all and get 5 feet away from the finish line before they realize, oh crap, I have to finish my beer. And while they're sitting there, their controller's just sitting there on the table. You look at the television screen, and they're just sitting there in their cart doing nothing, like 5,000 people just pass them, and then all of a sudden, it's all over. So
it is fucking sweating my dick off. I'm from Ohio. You guys... It's cold like for 10 seconds, and you fuckers turn up the heat like it's a damn ice age in this
Anytime
building.
It's below 70, it's freezing outside.
God. It's like freaking -7 degrees in Ohio right now. Damn. Anywho, I'm pretty sure we all have some pretty good pre-gaming stories. I remember with a few people who will, of course, remain anonymous, but we were here on campus pre-gaming in one of the dorms, and we didn't have really somehow tried to fit a pong table into one of the rooms, but we couldn't. So we ended up playing in chairs, like on Pong. And I guess like the rule was if you skunk someone, they had to do a naked lap.
Oh, that's the rule for everything here. I learned that really fast. Like,
did you learn it the hard way though?
No.
Okay.
But I learned it really fast, mostly from watching people learn it the hard way. It's like anytime we'd get in the freshman dorms and playing 2K. Or like Madden. It's like Madden. Oh, you lost 21-0. That's a naked lap. Like, go ahead, go.
But we were playing, and within the first like minute, again, I'm gonna talk shit to you all day. I'm the best beer pong player out there. You can challenge me anytime, anywhere. But anywho, within the first 30 seconds, I death cupped somebody. They didn't hit any of my cups or anything. I death cupped them.
That's tough.
and people were literally going ape shit like, oh, you gotta do a naked lap, and I'm just like, what? Why does he have? I don't even know. What does that even mean? What are you talking about? And they're like, they had explained to me like, if you skunk them, then they have to do a naked lap, and I was like, what? Like through the hallway? They're like, no. You gotta like either if it's like a circular floor, you gotta do the whole thing, or like if you're on like the ground level, which we weren't, so thank God for that person. But if you were on ground level, you had to go out the main door and around the building and back
tough.
in. Yeah.
That's tough to get death cupped like that right at the beginning. Like that rule is only like really, really. I mean, obviously, it's always fun to watch someone run a naked lap, but the rule is really, really intense when like they they have one cup remaining and they're not even worried about winning anymore. They're just trying to get that one so they're safe, and everyone's just like rooting against them, just chanting "naked lap, naked lap," just sitting there on the edge of your seat at all times. Usually it ends in disappointment, but when it doesn't, it's a glorious time.
It's like the second coming of Jesus almost.
Yeah,
when it happens. But when it comes to like just the overall concept of pre-gaming, like I don't even know really like how that originated, because obviously like just drinking a few beers in the house, but you know, like how like with like fraternities, how you always see in the movies, like in 1951, so and so discovered the art of beer pong, and it's like, and like every fraternity ever thinks they founded beer pong. But I just love how that like got started, because mainly because whether it's either, you know, how they'd say in Leonard Kenny, you know, you sweet on a girl, or, you know, you're trying to make new friends, or you're trying to maybe network a little bit. Like, it's just something great, more cost effective to basically just like have people come together and do.
I think I mean, obviously, I'll never know who created this wonderful sport, this wonderful event. My guess would have to be, like, just because of, like, looking at the reasons people would go free gaming, would either be to save money, like you mentioned, or what I think it probably was underage college kids that knew that they can't buy beer when they get there, but they can get in. So just try to get as drunk as possible before you go, or like when you're going to a sporting event. That doesn't really happen here, but at the bigger schools, like if you're going to a sporting event, that's just my guess. That's my educated hypothesis. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Whenever I find my significant other, like putting it out there, trying to find Mrs. Stevens. So trying to make that happen. But whenever I have children, I will pregame any and all of their sporting events.
Oh, don't be a helicopter parent.
Please. Oh, I will not be a helicopter parent. No, I will not be. I will not be a helicopter parent. I will not be a bulldozer parent. I will not live vicariously through my child. No, I am strictly there to tell them either you're doing good or you're doing bad, or you need to work harder. Or, you know, if we're in like a baseball league where everybody gets a participation trophy, well, then you're not playing in that. You got to learn how to lose. Okay. But most importantly, I'm strictly there to pregame their sporting event and make it more enjoyable for everybody who does be a bulldozer parent or live vicariously through their child. So I'm actually pretty excited for that. Now that I said I'm pretty excited for that. So Mrs. Stevens, come this way pretty quickly, please. And actually with pre-gaming too, I'm pretty sure that'll actually happen coming up soon, because doesn't our men's rugby team have the, was it state finals?
National championship.
They're
in the Final Four.
They're in the Final Four?
Yep.
So I'm pretty sure if they win that game right before, especially with finals creeping up soon, and after that game, if they win that game, somebody's probably going to get alcohol poisoning. This
was an awful week to have. Well, not this week, but next week was an awful week to have finals. Like, this finals period is brutal. Like, we just
fucking riddle me this. Why is it, hey, let's go on Thanksgiving break and then come back for 5 days, and then y'all can take your finals, and then you guys can leave for another month?
I don't know. I think it's just because Thanksgiving was so late this year, but for real, like, I just did 3 presentations within the span of 2 days. And then in between, I had an exam, and it's not my final exam, just an exam, just our last, if finals are the playoffs, our last regular season exam. And then I'll have my final exam next week. And then I got another essay, other freaking exams. Like, it's just insane. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't just, like, hold some of that off until finals week and just count that as the final grade. Like, I don't know why we had to have an exam.
Tis shit that hails from Bull. But speaking of Thanksgiving and on the topic of pre-gaming, you can bet your fucking ass that I pre-gamed Thanksgiving Day. I woke up at 10 a.m., started off with a big glass of mimosa. And because a mimosa a day keeps the doctor away, remember that, folks. But I started out with mimosas, and I think after mimosas, I switched to freaking Jameson, and the Jameson lasted me all the way until about after dinner, when I remember starting Friends Seen It and then waking up in the bathtub.
Wait, y'all have friends seen it?
Yeah, there's friends. Yeah, I have Friends Seen It.
Can you bring it here?
Hell yeah, I'll fucking bring it here.
I
I'll
wanna
whoop
play
everybody's
it.
ass in Friends Seen It. Oh my God, we went from whooping people in Pong to Friends Seen It. Oh, I will kill everybody in that game.
Now that is a power move. I think
the
you need to bring it here, and
big
I
dick
will
energy
play.
right there.
Yes.
So that will conclude our podcast on the topic of pre-gaming. I would love to hear any stories that anybody has to share or anything on that topic of on our Instagram. You can follow us at RowdyRoyals_ on Instagram, and you can like us and share us and basically share some stories of your pre-gaming experience, and I will either relate to you or be the sarcastic asshole I am and make fun of you.
Yes, absolutely. And also, I mean, share your stories with us, but also if you ever have anything that you want us to talk about, just let us know and we'll make it happen.
Especially if you're a part of the Queens community, we'll definitely make that happen.
Yes, we want to talk about what you want to hear.
All right, thank you so much for listening. I'm Evan Stevens.
I'm Tommy Bobbitt.